on today's edition of Soulful Eats with Lisa J, we're going to do fried pork chops. We're going to have a stir fry with sauteed cabbage with bacon, which is really not a stir fry, but it's going to be sauteed cabbage with bacon. And we're going to do a little bit of boiled potatoes, mashed potatoes. So we're just going to have us a little simple, lightweight dinner for today. So I already started prepping my potatoes. I peeled 2 regular white potatoes. I'm going to cut them up. We're going to put those on to boil with a little salted water. You're just going to boil them, and once they boil, you're going to let them boil for maybe about 20 minutes or so until they're fork tender. And then we're going to take those and mash them up, and we're going to make just a regular mash, like a mashed potato with them, with a little bit of sour cream and a little garlic inside of the potatoes. So I already peeled my white potato. I'm going to cut it up. And I found some pork chops today. And for those people who don't know, I'm in Southern California in San Diego. So we're having a tropical storm / hurricane here. So everybody's buying everything that's not nailed down to the floor here in San Diego because they think we're going to blow away. But very limited on what we can get today because everybody's buying stuff to prepare for the storm that's coming in. So I found me some nice thin pork chops at Walmart, which is my go-to store. I got me a nice green cabbage, and I got my hardwood hickory smoked bacon that we're going to saute and put in our wok for our cabbage. So finish cutting up these potatoes, and then we're going to get these going, and then we'll start on our cabbage, which will be next. So I like to cut my potatoes not too small, not too big, just big enough so that they can cook, you know, kind of quick. So we got this, getting this all cut up. So I already cut up one potato. It's already in the pot. I'm going to scoop these potatoes into this water here. And that's how your potatoes should look once you cut them all up. You don't want them too fine. You don't want them too big, because then they'll take a longer time to cook. So I'm going to put these on. Put them on about medium temperature so that they'll, you know, come to a boil. In your water, you need to put a little bit of salt. So I don't measure. As I said before, I do everything by sight. So we put a little salt in here. Salt your potatoes, and then you just leave them go. Set for about maybe 20-25 minutes, or until the potatoes, you can test it by taking a fork, sticking them. If they break, that means that the potatoes are fork tender, and then they're ready to be drained and mashed. Okay, so when I get ready to fry my cabbage, I'm going to do my cabbage in the wok. I like to do my cabbage in the wok. It comes out nice and crispy, kind of tender but crispy. I'm going to fry our bacon in this pan here. The drippings that are left, we're going to saute our cabbage in there with some onion, and we'll saute it up. And in this pan, I'm going to put my pork chops, but this is one of my favorite pans that I like to use. This came from my husband's grandmother, who's now passed away. God rest her soul. She was a really sweet woman. Everybody misses her and loves her. Her name was Medea. So we're gonna cook our pork chops in Medea's skillet. We're gonna give them the Medea touch. So that's gonna make them taste even better. Gonna give them some love, because this is Medea's cast iron skillet. Got my nice green cabbage. It's pretty decent size. It's not too big, not too small. I'm going to cut it right down the middle like this. Okay. And then this piece right here is the core. You don't want to eat that. So we're going to take our knife, going to come down like this. Take that out, because that's kind of stale, stiff, hard. You don't want this. That's not good eats. So we're going to take this. I'm going to take my knife. I'm going to hold it like this, and I'm going to kind of make nice big cuts like this. Okay. And then once you cut, you'll see that your cabbage is going to basically kind of like fall apart like this. You're going to transfer that into a bowl. Okay, and then this is how you want it to look. It's supposed to come out like that, so it'll be nice and shredded up. So we're going to put this cabbage into a bowl. We're going to get it ready. We're going to put our bacon on, which is the bacon that I showed you earlier, and we're going to get the bacon going so we'll have some bacon drippings to cook our cabbage in or saute on. So you guys probably have been wondering, where has Lisa been? Lisa has been at work. Lisa needed to make a little money so she could buy these here groceries and keep stuff going a lot in the house. So I'm gonna finish cutting this up, but I'm back now, so we're gonna get this on and popping. We're gonna get this stuff cooking. Tomorrow we're gonna have a nice show because we're gonna do a nice southern soul food meal, which is going to be our fried chicken. We're gonna do some collard greens, and we're gonna do some fried corn. So that's gonna be our show for tomorrow. So I want you guys to tune in and stay tuned in so you can see what I'm doing for tomorrow. But we're gonna finish this up with our fried pork chops tonight, and we're gonna finish cutting this up here. The hurricane is coming. I think it's more hype than it's going to be. I think it's, probably going to be more of a storm than a hurricane. As I was told today by a gentleman I was talking to, said that by the time it gets in the cooler waters in the Pacific, it'll, kind of like pan out, and it won't be a hurricane. It'll just become a tropical storm. So it'll just, dump a lot of wind and rain. And so, for those of you who have not been to Southern California, we're very dry here. So we don't get a lot of rain here. So when we get rain, it turns into mud because we don't get rain like you do back east or like down south. You get like not much. So when they get rain, people will go crazy because they don't see rain that often. So we're just about done cutting up this cabbage. That's about it for this cabbage. I don't want to get too much of that end part because it's kind of not good to eat. Don't taste as bitter. So we're going to toss this part, and then I'm going to get my bacon going, and we're going to saute our cabbage in. So give me 1 second. And I've already cut up some of my hickory smoked bacon. We're going to put this in the wok. We're going to let it get brown. And then to this, we're going to add some of this white onion that I like to saute, and it gives a good flavor. And then we're going to put our cabbage in there. I also am going to put some seasonings in there. The seasonings that I'm going to use to saute my cabbage, it's going to be a little bit of Lawry's seasoning salt, a little onion powder, and my go-to seasoning, which is my Morton's Nature seasoning. So I'm going to put all that in there. But right now we're going to put the bacon into the wok, and we're going to get that going. Got my bacon going. You don't need a lot of bacon, just a little bit, so it'll make some little bit of bacon drippings in there, and it'll give it that bite that you want. So it'll have that that hickory flavor. So then I'll put that here. Okay. Fry our bacon. Get that going. And you just want to fry it till it's like brown. You don't want it like wilted. Now you want it like crispy brown, so that it's making off some of that fat, and then it's gonna we're gonna put that in there with our cabbage, so it'll have a nice bacony flavor. Because I like, I love bacon. I don't know about you, but I like bacon because I know a lot of people now they're on this whole health kick where they don't like pork or whatever. But me, I like me some bacon. Love my bacon. I get crazy about some bacon, but that's just me. I like my sausage, like my bacon. I don't eat it too often because it's not good for you. It's making cholesterol go up, but like me some bacon. So we're going to get this going. And you see it's starting to get kind of hot in here. And as you can see, I got my Detroit Lions shirt on today. So they didn't do too good today. I think they lost. But it's preseason, so that don't count. So we gonna chalk that off because they just had a bad day today. We just couldn't get it together. But next game gonna be it. They're gonna do it. they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it done. So go Lions. So my husband just asked me, did I think if Dan Campbell would like a meal like this? I would have to go out on a limb and say I would think Dan Campbell would eat this. Dan Campbell don't look like he turned too many meals down. I think he would eat this. This is a nice kind of southerny meal. He looks like he's a kind of southerny guy, so he look like, I think he would like this. But our bacon is starting to brown, and it's almost to that point, you know, we're going to let it just keep going a little bit more because it's still kind of raw. We don't want no rawness. We don't want nobody getting no salmonella. I know, as my husband would say, I say everything is botulism, so we don't want no botulism either. So we want this to get nice and brown. Okay, as you can see, our potatoes have started to come to a nice boil. And they're boiling at a nice steady pace, and I'm going to get me a fork. Stir them around a little bit. And as you can see, the potatoes are still, they're kind of opaque. They're still kind of hard. So this is not what we want yet. We want them to get fork tender. So what I mean by fork tender is when you pinch off a piece of that potato, it breaks off real easy. Doesn't give you any resistance. That means it's ready. And then when we get this done, we're going to drain these off. Gonna mash them with some butter. We're gonna put some sour cream in here, and it's gonna come together real good. But that's not ready yet. And then we're gonna put our bacon. Our bacon is coming along. It's singing and popping in this pan here. And then the very last thing that we're gonna do is our pork chops. Now me, I like thin cut pork chops. I don't like no pork chops that's big, thick, fat, all that fat on it. They don't cook good. Now if you want a big thick pork chop, you can do that. It's going to take a long time for that pork chop to cook. I like the thin cut pork chops. They cook real quick, taste real good. And sometimes you can get them and they might be too tough. So the ones I got today, they look like they were nice and tender. We're going to season those up and we're going to throw them in the can. But thick pork chops are basically good if you're going to grill them. If you're going to put them on the grill or you're going to broil them, you know, then yeah, that's good. Or if you're going to bake them, that's a good pork chop for that. It's hearty, it's thick. The thinner ones, that's good for more or less frying. So, as you can see, our bacon is still coming along. It's not what I want to have just yet. I want to have it a little bit browner than this. Still kind of raw. So this is what I want my bacon to look like. Nice and crispy. It's all crisp up. I don't have a lot of it. You don't need a whole lot. This ain't a bacon sandwich. Just sauteed cabbage. So this is enough to do the flavor that I wanted to do. So now we got a little bit of the remnants of the bacon drippings that's in this pan. We're going to turn it down a little bit. Potatoes are still over there doing their thing, dancing in the pot. And we're going to take, I cut up some white onion. We're going to put that in here. In that bacon dripping. And we're going to get them until they kind of like translucent. What I mean by translucent is they kind of like soft. So basically soft. You want to cook them. And they give off that nice oniony flavor. So if you can smell it, you know that that's, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like when your mama is cooking Sunday dinner and you outside playing, you know, when you was a kid, you can smell your mama cooking the food and you can smell it, you know, kind of reminisce. You can go back with me a little bit. Kind of telling my age too, but anyway, when your mama would tell you, gotta be in when the street lights come on, or see me sitting on the porch. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, we got these onions in here going. We're gonna let them cook. I don't want them to burn. I just want to get them soft. Okay, so we'll let them cook for a few minutes. While we're doing that, I'm gonna break the cabbage up a little bit. Because I'm not gonna probably, okay, so I'm not gonna probably use all of this cabbage. I'm just gonna use a good portion of it. And I see I got a Cookie Monster coming in here. The bacon thief is coming in, trying to take the bacon. Have to watch the bacon thief. Last video, we had the meat thief with the chopstick. So now we got the cabbage. Just gonna break it up a little bit. Okay. Okay. So I'm still checking on my potatoes. They're coming along. Probably another few minutes, and those will be ready to take off, drain, and then we'll put our ingredients in here to make our boiled mashed potatoes. And then onions, I like the way I want them. They're basically translucent. So now we're gonna start adding and incorporating our cabbage in here. Grab some of the cabbage, and we're gonna drop it in the pan like this. Okay. You might want to turn our fire up a little bit more. Okay. Turn it up a little bit more, because it might seem like I have a lot of cabbage in this pan, but once this starts cooking down and it starts to wilt, you're gonna see it's not really a lot of cabbage. It's gonna wilt itself down. And this is a nice meal. It's healthy. You get, your vitamins from the cabbage. You get the potatoes. You get it's just a simple, quick, healthy meal. And you're not boiling the cabbage. I like boiled cabbage, but sometimes you can boil all the vitamins out of them. Me, I like to kind of stir fry mine, but I have my little trusty wok, and I like this because it's quick. You can do it real quick. You just bought this at I don't know if you guys have Aldi's where y'all live at, but I bought this at Aldi's. I think I paid $8.99 for this wok. This wok was best investment, one of the best investments, other than my electric skillet that I got for $19.99 at Walmart. This was a good investment too. So we got this in there, and we're gonna season now. Cause guess what? We don't have no seasoning in here. That ain't cool. So me, I like seasoning. So like I said, I do everything by sight. A little bit of this here, Lowry seasoning salt. That's one of the staples I keep in my house. If y'all don't know what it is, I know most black people know what this is. I bet if you go to anybody's black house, you'll see this in their house. If you don't see it, something wrong. Okay. And then we're going to put a little bit of this onion powder. And if you're not hearing that crackling, that crackling in that pan, that means that your pan is not hot. So that means we got a nice heat going on underneath that cabbage. I'm getting ready to stir it up. And then this is the last thing I'm going to season with, which is going to be my go-to, my favorite, my Morton's Nature Seasoning. I use this in everything. I use this in hamburgers, just about everything I do. I put this. This is staple. When I get low on this, I gotta go buy me some because I'm getting anxious. All right. So now we're gonna take our little spatula and start stirring this up. Okay. And then you got the dripping from the bacon, which is in there, and it wasn't a lot, but it was enough just for me to coat. And I'm not going to add any more because it's going to start to get greasy. And you'll see that this is going to come together real nice. And then at the end, we're going to throw our bacon in there. So now it looks like our potatoes, as I told you, if you pinch off like this and your potatoes break, guess what? They're done. So now we're going to turn this off. Okay, so we're back. So I'm going to start mashing my potatoes. So we're going to take our trusty potato masher, okay? We're going to start to mash the potatoes, okay? And I also have maybe about half a stick of salted butter that I'm going to put in my potatoes. Okay, just mash them. And they came out nice and tender, and nice and fluffy. And that's how they're supposed to look. Okay, just like that. Okay. At this point, you can put your little smidge of butter in there. Don't worry, y'all, I wash my hands. I wash my hands every day, all day. So I'm using my hands. I'm going to put a little more of this butter in here. Okay. So I like my stuff buttery. Okay. There we go. Alright. Wash my hands again. As y'all can see, hand washing is essential. Don't want to go to nobody's house and they ain't washing their hands. Because I know I'm not eating nothing. Ain't nobody washing their hands. That's for sure. Okay. And we're going to continue to mash with our potato masher with the butter so that it incorporates and it'll melt. Okay. Now you can zing these up however you want to. Sometimes my family likes when I put some garlic in there, or they like when I put like chives or whatever. But tonight is just going to be something simple. We're just going to have us a little bit of mashed potatoes. Okay. Okay. Maybe a little bit more butter. Because butter make everything good. Make everything good. And then I got some sour cream I'm going to put in there. Find sour cream. But we'll find it. Okay, so this is basically like having a baked potato without having a baked potato, then without having the skin. So you're going to kind of zhuzh it up the way you want to. So I'm going to put a little bit of this sour cream in there. Okay. And you also need to season, a little bit of seasoning. So I'm going to put maybe a tablespoon. And that's going to make them nice and creamy. So we're going to stir this around in there. Okay. And I just got some cheap sour cream from the store. Maybe a little bit more. So I ain't doing what I wanted to do. Okay. Okay. Okay, so like I told you, remember when I said at the beginning when I put all those cabbage in there, I said it looks like I have a lot of cabbage in this pan. Guess what? This is what we got now. That's almost the end result. And this is what you want your cabbage to look like. It's got that kind of golden look to it, kind of brown, not fried hard. And guess what? You got, you're keeping all your vitamins in there. Got that little twang of the onions, a little tinge of the bacon. So this is how you want your cabbage to look. Okay, so basically, at this point, you're going to turn off your cabbage. Boom, that's done. I'll put that on the back burner. The next thing we're going to move to is going to be the star of the meal, which is going to be our pork chops. So give me just a minute, and we're going to come back with the pork chops. So we're back. And we're getting ready to fry our pork chops. So if you guys saw my video that I did with the fried shrimp, and I talked about the oil being hot, if your oil is not moving around in the pan, it's not hot. So as you can see, my Medea skillet here is hot. We can see our oil moving around in it. And we've got our finished product with the cabbage, sauteed cabbage with our bacon, and our boiled mashed potatoes here with our sour cream in it. So now we're gonna get to the star of the show, which is our pork chops. Nice thin pork chops that I got. I'm gonna always, I don't know about you, but I like to take a little cool water, put some pork chops on. Put some on. Two more potatoes worth. later on. Okay, so we got our pork chops, nice thin pork chops, and we are going to season them. Now, I got about a half a cup of just plain all-purpose flour here. So I'm going to take my best friend, which is my Lori seasoning salt right here. Okay, I'll sprinkle a little bit of this right on these chops. Boom, boom, boom. And we're going to put my other BFF, which is my Morton's Nature Seasoning, right on there. Okay. And we're not trying to make them salty. We just want to give them, you're going to do this on both sides. You know, obviously you don't want one side of your food seasoning, the other's not. So I like to take my pork chop here, put it in my flour, shake it around, put a little bit more seasoning on the other side. Just like that. I'll toss it in that flour, make sure everything is nicely coated. You don't want to overcoat it because we don't want the breading falling off. Okay, so nice and coated. So now you're going to shake a little excess off and you're just going to drop it in the hot grease. Just like that. If it's too hot, always turn it down. And it should be bubbling like that. Okay, so as you saw, I had 3 pork chops, but because my pan is kind of small, I wasn't able to put all 3 pork chops in at one time. If you do that, you're going to drop the temperature of the oil. It's not going to fry good. So right now, I'm only able to put 2 in, and then I'll fry my others 2 at a time. So when you see this and they're starting to kind of bubble like this, I like mine nice and golden brown. Okay, so if you add the 3rd pork chop in at this point, it's going to drop the temperature of your oil and your pork chops are not going to fry good. So I only have 2 in here in the pan right now. So you want them to get brown, and they're almost there. You're not at that stage yet. I want them to be golden brown and delicious, GDD, and we're going to let them cook until they continue to get brown. You're not at that stage yet. When you see them little bubbles, that means that they're still cooking. There's still room for them to cook. They're not like I like them yet. So we're going to let them stay in here a few more minutes. And then we're going to drop the other one in there and we're going to get that one going. But basically our meal is just about done. So when this gets nice and brown, we're going to drain them off onto our paper towel. And then we're going to plate up our dinner for tonight. And then we're going to see what it all looks like when it comes together. Dan Campbell is always, my husband asked me if Dan Campbell welcome to have a plate. Dan Campbell will always be welcome to have a plate. Anytime he want to come, yes, he's always welcome in the Jackson household. Okay, so we're back. And guess what? Our pork chops are nice and brown. It's like, they don't look like this, you did something wrong. So guess what? I'm going to take them out of the pan. Drain off any excess oil you may have. I'm going to put it onto a paper towel lined plate, like such. And that's what you should have when you fry your pork chops. Nice and brown, crispy. Okay. Oil's still hot. We're going to drop our other ones in, but these are done for now. Okay. And then we're going to plate this up for you, and we're going to let you see what the finished product looks like. Okay, so our finished product is our fried pork chops, our sauteed cabbage with bacon, and our boiled mashed potatoes with our sour cream in it. And this is our Jackson meal, our dinner for tonight at the Jackson household, done the Soulful Lisa Jackson way. And as always, like and subscribe if you like my videos. And Mr. Dan Campbell, come and get your heart out. This is what we have tonight.